All right, welcome back to another of our Doc Talks. And this month, we are recording about what we like to do for our own self-care or trying to support our body's natural state of well-being, because that really is how we were designed to be, is healthy. However, if we aren't doing and allowing many times the right mix, the right ingredients to support well-being, a lot of times our bodies will be showing us other things. So, we're going to just go through some of our favorite health habits or things that we do to support well being for ourselves personally. And as you think about your own routines, because health is really generally a lot of small decisions built over time that leads to resiliency and good adaptability. Because that's what we want. We want to be able to respond appropriately to demands placed on us. That is what vital health gives us, is opportunities to engage in our life in a way where we can handle what is brought to us and what shows up in our life so that we stay healthy even when we're under good stress or bad stress or different things happening, that we're still dynamic and able to respond to it. But also to remember that health isn't just physically what you're doing. So it's not just moving your body or eating the right foods. All those things are good. It's also how we handle emotional stress. It's how we rest. It's how we share love. Like all of those things are part of what contributes to, again, being really vital in your life and your lifestyle. So I'll start first. So I would say when I was younger, I'm 42 now, I felt like I had a more rigid routine around like I wake up, I do these things, I get up at this time, I get this much exercise, and I've always liked moving my body. And then as I had children and was nursing, I had to have a little more flexibility with that. And so I've realized in my not 20 years old anymore body that I still need those things. I just also have to have the grace to know like sometimes I need to sleep in. Sometimes going and sitting on the ground and just getting out in the sunshine is more important than me going for a run. Whereas before, I would not have given myself permission to skip a run or things like that. I was more hard on myself, I think would probably be the best way to say it. So if I look at my lifestyle right now, daily movement is still hugely important to me. And I would say it's more mental health for me than it is even physical health. Like if I move my body, I'm generally in a better state mentally. And I like to start my mornings with movement. So I'll wake up in the morning. I usually will drink a glass of hot water with lemon in it. I will go downstairs and either lift weights or go for a walk or go for a jog, or maybe get up and go to a yoga class, though that was one where I had to realize that sometimes getting up super early and driving to get to yoga and then driving home and getting the kids ready, it was just like more stressful than it was beneficial at times. But I do love yoga. And then just trying to make sure that if I'm going to start my day with fuel, which I don't always, sometimes I'm fasted in the morning, I wanted it to be like eggs or protein or sometimes a smoothie or something like that, just not putting crap in my body to start the day. I do usually have coffee. I love coffee. But I want to have like at least a couple of glasses of water before I'm starting on caffeine for the day as well. And then as we move through the day, let's say it's a work day, just being aware to like if at lunchtime, if I'm not overscheduled, I'll go outside for a little bit, or I'll go for a walk if I can, or I might just sit in the back and just have a moment. Again, different parts of your life when there's like never any alone time. Sometimes just being alone for 10 minutes is helpful. And then when I get home at night, really trying to be aware that like I love being with my younger kids right now. And so walking in the door, sometimes I just sit in my car for a second and just regroup because it might have been a really busy day. And I want to walk in because they're excited to see me. And I want to make sure that that's the state I'm walking into, or like I'm intentional about now I'm really excited to see them. Emotional connection is there, which is really, I think, healthy as well. And human touch. I get a lot of that from the kids and being cognizant too of like time with my husband, right? Because if our relationship isn't where it needs to be, that can be really taxing as well. And I can tell that when I've had a busy travel schedule or something like that, we're usually more able to like nitpick each other because we have not had time together. So being very aware of those different rhythms of support that we need that lead to health as well. And then I'll just end it with like getting to bed on time and setting devices off, putting the devices away from the bed. Like those are things that I do daily is like I'll put it on airplane mode at a certain time and then it's not, I have no light in the room. We have blacked out blinds. We even just like in our bedroom had a light that used to like shine from the fan. That was just like one little tiny light. And we put a little thing over it and took the bulb and dimmed it down so that there's just no light in the room so that we sleep really well. So those are some of my daily routines is just trying to check in with myself as much as possible. And then these little things like no light in the room, so sleep is better, phone's not by your head. Like those are things that are just non-negotiable to me at this point. So, Kameryn, how about you?
Mm, Even though I'm still in my 20s, I definitely am the type of person that is hard on myself when I don't follow routines. So as I have figured that out about myself, I am still really flexible with myself and trying not to beat myself up if I miss things. So that being said, the majority of the time, this will be my routine. I like to wake up semi-early. If 6 a.m. is early, I know a lot of people are like, if you want to be successful, wake up at 5, bear if you don't get enough sleep. So I wake up at 6. I like to work out in the morning. Some days, some days I don't, but I like to lift. That's just my jam. Some days, if I'm feeling a little bit slower or I just need like a more peaceful routine, I'll do more like yoga type things. But I am also the type of person that needs somebody to like get me out of bed. So my boyfriend actually wakes up with me and will do that with me. And then we take our dog for the walk. God bless what. And then we will take Bailey for a walk. That's our dog. She's very rigid on her routine with that. So she wakes us up regardless of whether I go lift or not. And then I'm a huge advocate for meditation. So I meditate in the morning. It's not super long, just a brief drop in. And then I am also a huge advocate for breakfast. I am also a bear if I don't eat, so I eat quite a bit of protein. Um, Also, Wyatt cooks that for me, which makes my schedule very nice. And then on my drive to work, I just get little spiritual drips. I listen to Esther Hicks every morning on my drive into work, just making sure that my mindset's in the right place, especially before I interact with a lot of people. I'm not like charged by social interactions. So making sure that I am in the right place and dropped in is big for me.
I just want to pause on that one. That one's huge. Like, how many people are listening to a fairly negative morning show or music that maybe isn't great to just start your day? Now, it's one thing if that music brings you a lot of energy. I think that there's a time and a place for it for sure. But there is a lot of, like, I was listening to a podcast that my son was listening to, and I was like, we maybe need to tone this podcast down some. It's just, it's interesting, but it's scary. Also, it's like, how often are we starting our day with some things that are not great?
Yeah, definitely. And then during lunch, I love to go for walks if it's nice outside, especially with Wisconsin weather. It's very debatable how often you get to do that, but I love to do that during lunch. And then I go to my dad's every day during lunch. So we walk together and just chat things out, talk about life. And then after work, on my way home, I call my mom every day. She fills my cup. So getting to talk to her every day, especially about just life in general, it really just takes a lot of the stress off before I'm walking into my door. I don't have little kids saying hi to me, but Bailey's so excited to see me every day. So definitely just taking a moment to connect with her before I go do anything else too is really big for me, especially after having given out a lot during the day. Just getting to like sit there for a second and pet my dog is filling. Um, and then Wyatt and I eat dinner together. And then we love to play pickleball. If I can go do that, that's a great day. And then we just connect together and do what we love, which is usually more laid back, chill things. We love to just hang out, watch TV, talk about life. And then we also have a workbook that we do together every week. So it's great.
Love that. How about you, Jacob?
Awesome. All right. Well, I'll follow the daily schedule or routine because that seems like the pattern we took. So, I also agree with Lona and Cami. It's important to wake up at within the same hour. Like they had said, don't beat yourself up if you feel like you're a little bit later in that hour than not, especially if it's on a day where you don't have something immediately you need to be to. Allow yourself to rest. That's super important. But waking up and going to bed within the same-ish hour each day will do wonders for your body because your body is adaptable to patterns. So I'll say that with grace because I have days where I do that better and days that I do not. Typically trying to wake up within the 6 to 6:30, like Cami said, I know that's early for some people, but some people get up even earlier. I am not a morning person, so and I know that. So I just do my best to wake up within that window, and especially upon waking, like getting up right away. So if you're waking and you're hanging out in bed or grabbing the phone or grabbing whatever the device is immediately in the morning, that usually throws off your natural capability to wake more properly. So just making sure, like Lona said, putting your phone maybe in a inaccessible spot the night before really does help that pattern and helps you get up and jump to the first thing you need to do to get ready in the morning. Again, like I said, I'm not a morning person, so I do not lift or do super active things in the morning because I just know that that's not my jam. I've done it in the past as an athlete or in college before, and I got through it, but it was not for me. So I am definitely just making sure I'm getting ready for my workday in the morning, making sure my energy's right. If I have any caffeine in the morning, it's always usually before like 1 o'clock because I try to have caffeine within before that 10-hour window of when I go to sleep, and I usually try to get to sleep before midnight. So if I'm done with caffeine consumption by about 2 o'clock, I know I'm going to set myself up for pretty decent sleep the later in the night. Like they had both said too, something I got from a mentor is turning your car into a classroom. So on your way to work, whether that's self-growth, self-development, professional development, personal development, like Cami said, or just getting my mindset right. I try to listen to something beneficial in that regard in my car because I have about a 25-minute drive to the office every morning and then also every evening on the way back home. And I do that primarily so that I can be in a primed and ready state to receive information, but also give information out to the patients and the people that I'm seeing each day. Man, what else? Okay, when I get to the office, same thing. If we have a nice day, Wisconsin's up in the air. Yes, I do like to go for walks. As far as diet or food, I love to intermittent fast because I know it's good for my energy. It's not great for everybody, so take that with a grain of salt. But I like just eating a bigger meal at night and supplementing with a little bit of snacking here and there, typically something protein based. If I am going to snack within, I usually do about a 20 to 4 fast. So that means not eating physical foods for 20 hours of the day and then eating within a 4 hour window. Mainly just because that keeps my energy up throughout the day so that I can serve people well. And that might not work when I'm 42, but right now I'm 27 and that's what works for me right now. So that definitely can shift, but also super important that you're listening to your body and making sure that you can do the things you need to do and serve the people you need to serve throughout the day without falling off of that consistent energy. As far as activity, I love, like I said, I don't like to work out or do super active things right away in the morning. I'm more of a night owl when it comes to that. So if I am going to work out during the week, it's usually at night or after I get back from the office. Or on Tuesdays, we work a half day. So I usually will work out in the morning. Granted, that's not right when I wake up, but just because that fits in the schedule. And then on the weekends, I usually can sleep a little longer so that I can have a later morning or afternoon workout. I do that as well. I do really love what Lona said about preparing her mind before she goes into her home setting. Although I don't have kids, but I do have a partner, I have a wife. Her name's Leah, so I want to make sure that I'm not taking work home, whether that's mentally or physically or whatever it might be, and just setting myself up in a good headspace to receive what she's gone through throughout the day, and then talk about mine as well, and then share our experiences in a non-aggressive or annoyed way. And she's really graceful about the days that I might not do the best at that. So we're definitely still learning to love each other when it's not the easiest to love each other because that's marriage. But just making sure I'm doing that more than not, so that I'm not throwing off her end of the day energy and that we can spend time with each other. We do also love to go for walks. Pickleball is big. Trying to play that more, that it's now more consistently nice out. But just whatever we're doing in the evening, we usually try to get some activity in before we eat dinner later in the evening. So
That's great. Yeah, some key things. Obviously, there's a theme of everybody's trying to move their bodies daily, get outside when for fresh air. We did talk about water, but all of us are drinking water. We're not drinking pop. I drink hot water. I don't like cold water. Some people are the opposite of that. You just got to get the ounces in when you can. Certain things like lemon in your water can be, I almost feel like it's like cleaning your system as a good daily habit. Um, Making sure we're getting good sleep. making sure that the mindset you have to your whatever you're doing that's in the name of supporting your system is equally as important, right? So if I'm choosing health food, but I'm berating myself every time I slip up, like that has a different effect on me than if I'm somebody who, as Cami would put it, is intuitively eating, meaning like I'm eating what feels right for me right now. I think how we approach the discipline in our life, discipline is a great thing as long as we're still permitting ourselves to live and have some wiggle room with things so that we're not just so heavy on ourselves about I've slipped up here, or I didn't do my workout here, or whatever. Cami mentioned meditation. I really like journaling in the morning, just something that Jacob talked about, listening to things that fill you up before you start your day. Like those things are really major. We're going to change based on the things we expose ourselves to, whether that's a thought that drops in, whether that's something we're listening to, something we're experiencing. If we're not receiving new thoughts or things that grow our potential or allowing ourselves to take some time to really think about what we want to create and put that down, like it's where we'll be living Groundhog's Day. We're like living the same day over and over again. And most of us want more fulfilling lives. And part of having a fulfilling life is like you're excited about your life, meaning like there's more energy coming through you because you're actually excited about what you're going to wake up and do, which is really good for your health. So, a strong advocate for if there's things you don't like, you're the only catalyst that in your life that probably is responsible to change those things, right? And that may just even be changing how you approach thinking about them, right? That is a change, right? Sometimes there are circumstances like, well, this can't immediately change. Okay, but the way we engage with it or the way we think about the circumstance can change. We show up differently then. So that is a huge part of our health is being nimble in our own mind and our beliefs and how we connect into our daily rhythms. So that's huge. The other thing I would point out is just thinking about what you don't do too, or paying attention to like when we deviate from certain things, like what do we notice? I'll use an example from yesterday. We were in the car for 6 hours. My kids were on screens a lot of the time. They're never on screens that much. Um, we ate fast food one of the meals, like it was a deviation from our normal by quite a bit. And last night, my 5-year-old woke up 2 times through the night. He was like crying in the car, and it's because his nervous system was obviously overwhelmed. And then we added Culvers to the mix. And that's not to like be like, oh, never eat Culvers. It's just that this is why we don't do it every day, right? We definitely don't sit on screens 6 hours a day. We're not sitting for 6 hours, and then we're not adding Culvers in. It just happened to be that that's what worked yesterday. But then it's no surprise when we had a rough night of sleep, all of that. And so you got to look for those patterns because sometimes that's happening so frequently that we don't even recognize some of these things are the triggers for why the outcomes for our health or our family aren't as good as they could be. It's like these are small decisions, but if they're repeated too often, they become the dominant state of what you're experiencing for health. So a lot of healthcare is also what you won't do. Like, we're not going to do that again today. And we're going to prioritize getting naps in if we need one, even though maybe you don't normally nap. It's like just teaching everyone around you to like, well, let's look at what happened when we did that and then make different decisions. So anything else, you guys?
I could say one thing more about what Lona just said. I actually referenced this in my talk recently. I said our thoughts become our actions become our habits, become what we define as character, and characters often remembered as what we leave as a legacy. So, but that doesn't mean that every time you have a negative thought, something comes up where that throws off your pattern. It's totally fine so long as you're making more decisions and thoughts in the positive and healthy realm. You're going to be a-okay.
Yep. Yeah, we're not going for perfection here.
Exactly.
Small progress. Awesome. And then obviously all of us get checked chiropractically. We get adjusted weekly, sometimes more than once a week. Sometimes a family member might be in often if there's something going on with them, but we're at least laying on a chiropractic table once a week and having somebody look and see where does our structure need support to support that neurology. And that's a big piece of trying to remain adaptable to is like whatever's coming at us generally holds itself in our system. And if we can have someone help us unwind some of that, generally then our physiology is going to adapt better as well. So that's a huge cornerstone of our healthcare, of course, which I think you guys know that, but just in case it needs to be said. Um, so most of health is recognizing everything you would probably do for your loved one, like your animal, like your dog, your cat, fresh water, time outside, making sure that they're receiving love, getting better food. That's the same for us. We just sometimes are doing more for our pet than we are for ourselves. So look at your rhythms, ask yourself where you can make small improvements and have discipline with flexibility and repeat those patterns over time. And it's going to build more robust health. So, all right.